Welcome back to BK Nothing But Nets podcast. The Nets escaped last night. We'll use that word with a loss. They escaped Boston with a loss. Looked hairy for a while, and I had some thoughts on this. To me, and I'll get you guys. So I have a full panel today. I got Dylan, Nets Press Dylan. I got John, everything BK Nets John. So this should be a good show. But I had some thoughts on this. This is everything that's gone wrong with the Nets season. You had D'Lo playing well, creating offense, scoring, and then the fourth quarter he just kind of went cold. But he was keeping him in that game. Cam Johnson, and then Boston doesn't play their two best players; doesn't play their two superstars, and the Nets are in this game. To me, that's in a nutshell is what's gone wrong with the season. The veterans carry the Nets, and the other team doesn't take them seriously. Did you guys look? It ended up being okay. They ended up losing, but it was closer than it needed to be. You had to sweat it out. You guys see what I'm saying here? Like yesterday was kind of the Nets season in a nutshell.
Yeah, that's the biggest problem with the Nets, and it's the reason why I've had such issues with the way that the team's been run this year. Is I would have no problem seeing a couple of really good wins here and there against good teams if it was guys like Noah Clowney, Cam Thomas, Nick Claxton doing
Right.
the work. Right? It's not. It's Cam Johnson. It's D'Angelo Russell. It was Dennis Schroeder. It was Dorian Finney-Smith. That's my problem. When you're trying to so-called build a culture of young talent and trying to get them winning habits, you have to let those players get the wins. You can't let your veterans who may or may not be on the team next year get the wins for you. That doesn't push them to be better. That just pushes them to be role players. So to me, a lot of the development and potential of some of these guys are dwindling because of the fact that they're not being given the opportunities to be the first options, to be the second options, to really see how far their skills can take them as players in the NBA. A lot of the time, when you have this situation, these guys are going to be stuck in mediocrity forever. Like Noah Clowney, we're never going to see his full potential if he's playing next to Cam Johnson, and Cam Johnson's taking 15 to 20 shots a game. It doesn't help. So to me, it's frustrating, and that's been the main cause of my frustration. Is let the younger guys play, and
Dylan's
and
right.
they should have been sat. Like D'Lo and Cam Johnson should be sat by now. There's no reason they're still playing.
Dylan's right, and I get it, John, in just a second, right? But it's like they brought these young guys in. Clowney is a guy that have potential. It's like going out to a bar, hitting on a girl all night, bringing her back, and then saying, "No, I'm just going to stick with my girlfriend." It's like, well, why did you hit on this girl all night? Why did you buy her a drink? Why did you go through all the work of bringing her in, have her here, and then say, "No, I'm going to put you on the bench"? It doesn't make any sense. Like, why did you do that? Like, I don't
Yeah.
understand this game plan at all. John, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, and it's funny because since you were gone, Dylan, I've been harping on the same stuff, and I've been doing it for weeks now. Where it's like the young guys should be getting run to see what they can do. With the vets, we already know what they kind of do. Johnson got paid, Claxton got paid, and the numbers are very average to mediocre right now, with some little okays in between. But like, look at the minutes disparity last night. No Clowney, 18 minutes. I know he just got back, but come on, when you have Al Horford and Kristaps Porzingis out there on the opposing side, wouldn't you rather have Clowney with Claxton just because if you want to have a fair matchup, right, regardless of what happens, why do you have Clowney coming off the bench like that? And then Jalen Wilson, I understand there's a high chance Wilson could not be back this year because he's been very bad so far this season. But 7 minutes. Come on. This is insane right now. What are we competing for? When you give guys like that little minutes, it shows that you're relying on the vets too much because you want to be over competitive. You want to hope to maybe beat a team that's missing their best players. And I can't blame Boston. Listen, the best players who are in the playoffs right now are resting their starters to give them some rest. It's what you're supposed to do. It's strategic. Just like the bad teams purposely rest their best players so they could have better draft odds than we do. A lot of teams have done that against us, Gary, this year. Playoff teams, play-in teams, and teams out of it because they hope the Nets screw themselves over and win on those most nights. So if the Nets have a bad draft pick this year, it's because they fell into the trap holes too many times that you, me, and Dylan have talked about so much. So yeah, listen, at the end of the day, it was a competitive matchup. I'll give the Nets this. Against all the top competition this year, we have not gotten decimated. The only time we've gotten decimated is by the Clippers. So if that's something positive to take away from this, okay. But other than that, the young guys should be getting run right now to see what they can do. Guys like Johnson Claxton should not be getting 39 minutes right now when the season is almost done with 13 games to go.
And yeah, no, I wanted to get into this. Dylan, any closing thoughts on the way yesterday's game went? You know, D'Lo playing well, You had some good signs, right? Zaire Williams shot the ball well. Zaire Williams, he's really turned the corner. Thoughts on him, and then just close your thoughts out on the game in general, Dylan. I don't want to spend
I
too much
wasn't
time
able
on
to
the game.
watch it. I wasn't able to
Way
watch
better.
it. So I was on a business trip, so
Good for you.
we went for dinner last night and the whole 9 yards. But Zaire as a whole, he was one of the players that I was really excited to see this year. Like I said, I've watched him throughout high school at Sierra Canyon. He was always an explosive player that had such high upside. Injuries really derailed his first 3 seasons in the NBA. To me, at this point in his career, he can definitely be a high caliber role player, whether that be on a dog shit team or a contender. I really do think that he has that potential, especially if he can play, consistent games and not deal with as many injuries. I do think that he is a guy that could be a long-term piece in terms of a guy coming off the bench. So I'm happy to see with what he's done, especially the improvements from three. The last 2 months he's been really well. He started off the season really well and had a bit of a slump until All-Star break, but he's really seemed to pick it up over the past month and a half. So hopefully he's able to keep that going. I believe he's earned himself a contract without a doubt. So we'll see what happens with him during the offseason.
Let me follow up with you with 2 questions on that. I agree. He should be here. He's definitely a rotational guy in the NBA on any team, on a good team. So I like him here. Do you see him as a starter? Do you see him as a rotational guy? And what do you think a fair market value contract is for Zaire?
It's I view him as a rotational piece, not a starter. The contract's tough though, because if you're looking at Cam Thomas's rumored contract, they reported that he could command 20 to 22 million. I think that's low for him. Which kind of indicates to me that he's going to be signing a short-term deal rather than a long-term deal. Whether that be a 3-year with a player option on the third year or a 2-year straight-up deal. So to me, Zaire's probably in the realm of that like 10 to 14 million a year range, maybe a little less. I could be being a little too generous with that, but I would think around that 10 to 14 million a year, especially if you think of him as a high-caliber role player. Lou Dort makes $16.5 million. I don't think he's the level of role player that Dort is just yet. But in terms of a high caliber role player that you have on your team, I would think that's the range. Probably like a 3-year, $42 million deal at most. Probably, I would probably say 3-year, $33 million is the range that I would think.
Interesting.
That's about reasonable. Let me get to John. John, first, give me your thoughts. I'm going to go back. Give me your thoughts on Zaire. Do you want him back? Is he a starter next year? Is he a rotational guy? And what do you think a fair market value contract for Zaire is?
Yeah, I've touched a lot on Zaire this year. I think he's been very consistent. He's had very few really bad games. Well, he had a bad game against the Spurs, but for most of the season, very consistent. Started out playing a lot of aggressive defense, even in the preseason. He got hurt, but since he's come back, the three-point shot has gotten much better. He really is that first successful reclamation project on the Jordy. The offense has gotten better. Defense has been more crisper. He feels free, and he wants to be part of this team. So I agree with Dylan. Something around a $10 million salary for 3 years, around 33 or 40 million. It's very fair for him, and it gives us flexibility with Zaire's future. And for me, I see him as a good part of our bench. You definitely need a deep bench. I think it's one of Brooklyn's biggest problems is they never had a really set bench. And if you want to keep the defensive identity Jordy's trying to foster, keeping Zaire definitely helps. I don't see starter potential with Zaire, but I definitely see a solid bench piece. And he has shown you he can start on some nights and he can come off the bench on different nights. I think that versatility is something we need right now. And I think going forward, you want as much versatility on the team as possible. So I think Zaire's done good this year, and he's definitely put himself in a good position to get a fair bargain deal with a team like Brooklyn this summer. So good on Zaire.
The other thing I wanted, look, Clowney didn't do much yesterday. I think he had 1 point over 5 from the field. But give me your thoughts. I want to ask you about Maxwell Lewis too, who has some promise. But let's start with Clowney. I know Dylan didn't watch the game, so I want your take on this. He didn't do much. He didn't play much.
Mm-hmm.
Your thoughts on Clowney's return?
Yeah, it was a great night. He didn't do a whole lot. He was a +4 somehow in the 18 minutes he played, but yeah, just not a good night for Clowney. Like the way you want the rest of the season from him, just be healthy, get his offensive rhythm going, and just try to see what else he can add to it. Like we said this summer, he needs to have a dribble game. He needs to be able to go to the rim and get to the free throw line a lot more because he's showing you in some games he could be good at the free throw line. So for Clowney right now, stay healthy, finish the season strong, and try to build off this year. I think what Clowney showed you this year is a 3-point shot he mastered. It's what else can you do? And I really hope next year his defensive game takes an even bigger leap because I feel like that wasn't as prominent this year. It was more so the offensive game, but next year I want to see the offense and defense coincide with each other. I think they'll take Noah Clowney's game to another level. So just finish the season strong and take what you can from it and build on it, I would say, for Noah Clowney right now.
Two other takeaways, and then I'm going to get into the Sharp Claxton thing one more time. Maxwell Lewis has gotten some burn the last couple of games.
Right.
Look, I'm not saying he's a star. I'm not saying he's a star in the league, but I've seen some promise in Maxwell. What are your thoughts on Maxwell Lewis?
Let's go. I call him the crown jewel, Maxwell Lewis. Listen, I was advocating for guys like him to get burned a few days ago because I want to see what he can do. This kid is hungry. He was riding the Lakers bench for 2 years. I think he only played like 7 or 14 games. Like, this kid is hungry, and it's shown you in the last 3 games that he can score, he can defend, and he wants to be here. That's what I want to see in player evaluation. Do you want to be here? You're going to fight for your future. Like, that's what's so wrong about having these vets play games. It's like you're taking that away from the young guys who are not in your position. They don't have $20 million coming their way. They're trying to earn something around 5 or 10 mil. So I'll see the kid like Maxwell get the burn. It's great. It's what the season was supposed to be about. Player development, not letting the vets carry you to meaningless wins. So I'm proud of what Maxwell's doing. Do I see him as a starter or a long-term bench piece? Probably not, but a back-end bench piece that could get minutes here or there when starters need rest, I could definitely see something for Maxwell. So I hope he keeps this up because the hunger he's showing is what you wanted this season from young guys on this team.
Let me bring it back to Dylan real quick. We're going to move to the Claxton shortly one more time. But it was an observation. Like, Jalen Wilson was getting a lot of minutes. He barely saw the court yesterday. Lewis is getting minutes. Other guys are getting minutes. I don't hate Jalen Wilson. He's from my hood. I wanted to root for him. He's god awful. Clearly, he's only played 7 minutes yesterday. Is his career as a Brooklyn Net basically done? And is he gone and not going to get much more burn this year, Dylan? And is that the right decision?
We're talking Jalen Wilson?
Jalen Wilson, yeah. He played only 7 minutes yesterday in a game that they were playing every
Yeah,
day.
with the draft picks that we have coming in, I could see him being moved. I don't know how his contract lines up. He's a second-round pick, so usually they only get 2 years.
Right.
This is his second year, but you also have to remember he did sign a contract last year. So I'm not too sure what is exact. I want to say he has 2 more years.
No, he's signed
after
a 3 year.
this.
He does got one. Oh God, he's got 1 year left.
So,
He's got.
so I don't.
It's a club option for 2.2. They ain't picking
Okay, so yeah, I could see them declining that. I had a lot of high upside with him just in terms of a player that I felt could be a really good role player, like a Josh Hart level guy, but it doesn't seem like he's really going to take that leap that we all kind of thought he was going to. So unfortunate, but
there's season's for, right? The season is to see whether or not he can turn out to be an NBA player. Okay, he can't. No big deal. Like, we just move on.
Right. And he had the opportunities. Let's remember, without Thomas, you thought Wilson was going to show you some stuff. He showed you some stuff at the beginning of the season to give you some rebounds, some 3-point shots, but he missed on a lot of opportunities he was given. So I wouldn't be surprised if he's gone this summer, especially if you draft a really good player. So I feel like Wilson's on the bubble right now. Same with Tariq Whitehead. He didn't get much burn this year. He had played maybe 2 games and scored 18 points off 6 threes. Like, you were hoping Tariq Whitehead would get some burn this year. So some of these guys who didn't take advantage of the opportunities that they were given, they might be asked out, unfortunately. But that's the way it goes when you're drafting and trying to build an actual structure. So fortunately, it's just Wilson's loss at this point. He didn't take the bull by the horn.
All right, I'm going to start with, let's just get into it again. Am I showing my screen? I am. All right. Nick Claxton. I do this every day, guys. It's not a 1-0. -10. Day'Ron Sharp. Just a +2, but still, one guy's positive, one guy's negative. Day'Ron Sharp, I don't care anymore. Day'Ron Sharp's a good NBA player. Am I wrong, Dylan?
Yeah, there's no reason for him not to have a contract. Like, to me, the only thing that does suck is I really do want to see Thomas Sorber here. But at the same time, they should look to move Claxton's contract. They should look to free up that financial freedom. They should look to move Cam Johnson to move up in the draft. Like, if you can get rid of those 2 guys and put yourself in a position where you can get an expiring contract and a pick for Claxton, then you can move up in the draft with Johnson. You could bring in 5 young guys. Like, I like that idea. And you also have the cap space to bring in some high caliber role players this year to already kind of fill out the rotation for the following season, which is the season that you'll have a ton of cap space in an off season that could have a lot of good players in it as well. So, I like I said, I've always been on the 2-year trajectory of the rebuild. I don't think there's any necessary reason to not want to bottom out again next year. Again, if it's the rookies and the younger players that we have winning some games and overachieving, by all means, I'm cool with that. Go make a move at the deadline for a star, but I think the main focus needs to still be top 5 pick next year, because next year's top 5 is probably better than this year's top 5. So it's it's going to be interesting, but hopefully they just stay the course. Hopefully they grab a couple of younger players and build through the draft and take their time with it, because hate it or not, it's the truth. It's not like you're competing with Boston. It's not like you're competing with Cleveland. You're not competing with OKC. You're not competing with any of these guys over the next 2 years. So you might as well take your time and do it right.
I want to get this, John. Me and you have discussed this trend a lot. It's every single game. Sharp's got a plus plus minus, and Claxton's got a negative plus minus. It's not a one-off. It's not like I'm making a big deal out of nothing. It's every single game, right? Like, there's a clear trend here. So first, Sharp. Sharp's a good NBA player. He should be here, and they can keep him relatively cheap. Nick Claxton is not a good NBA player, especially not for that contract. Is this going to be a problem? Is Claxton going to be our center of the future moving forward under the eyes of Sean Marks? As long as Sean Marks is here, is Claxton our center?
Heck no. And right now, the fortunate thing of the summer is you have a chance to get rid of said problem. Let's be honest. The $100 million contract was a waste of time. Sean Marks gave free money away to Claxton with no accolades to his name. And in a season where Claxton's supposed to reward that faith in him, he hasn't. He's been so inconsistent. Every time Claxton has a good game, followed up by getting beat by a guy who wasn't even on a team like a Bismarck Biyombo. And last night, you look at Kristaps Porzingis. The guy can miss multiple months with an ankle injury. He can miss weeks with the flu. Guy comes back, gives you 13 rebounds, plus 12, 25 points, and Claxton gives you a meager 6 points. Like, it just goes to show you, having an undersized power forward with no offensive game like Claxton is just not the future that we really need right now. We need an actual big that can compete on a night-to-night basis against the best bigs. And when Day'Ron is outshining you as a backup, let's be honest, Day'Ron does have a future in the NBA, but is mostly as a backup. So if we can keep Day'Ron at a cheap deal and draft a Thomas Sorber with that Bucks pick potentially, and you trade Claxton in the summer, you kind of reset the center position, have cap space flexibility, and you get rid of a problem, which is Claxton right now. It's very simple and straightforward the way I just laid that out, but can Marks execute it? Because he should. Keeping Claxton any longer is just a negative asset at this point. He's getting cooked by bigs who miss weeks. He's getting cooked by bigs who are not even on teams. He's getting cooked by younger bigs. Like, who can Claxton actually guard on a consistent basis? Not many, especially when he doesn't have superstars to back him up. So if you keep Claxton, you have to get superstars to get his full potential unlocked, and we can't do that right now. In new CBA, we would screw ourselves just trying to make Claxton happy, make his offense better. So the best way to get out of this problem is to trade him to a team like the Lakers this summer and draft a center and start fresh. It's quite that simple, because right now Claxton's contract is a big issue.
Dylan, you're for keeping Sharp, so am I. And here's the problem I'm going to address. What do you think Sharp gets in free agency? We talking about? He still thinks around the $10 million mark. I think that's about right.
8 to 12 is still where I have him projected.
So
like a 3-year $36 million, 2-year $24 million, like somewhere around that range.
Here's my question, right? So between Claxton and Sharp, you're paying $35 million between the two, right? And it's like you're not getting great production at the center. Plus, like, let's say with the Bucks pick or some picks, Thomas Sorber, who you guys like, is available. Is Sean Marks going to look at, like, well, no, I have my centers for the future. I have Claxton. I have Sharp. I'm not going to.
He should be drafting players with the highest upside and the best available. That's when you suck this badly as an organization currently. Like, we are a bottom 4 team in basketball. Philly is not worse than us. New Orleans is not worse than us. Toronto's not worse than us. It is genuinely just Washington and Utah in my eyes. Charlotte even has a better roster than us. When you're that bad, you have to draft the best players with the highest upsides available, right? So, I don't like the idea of drafting a VJ or a Trey Johnson simply because we already have our shooting guard. But if they're going based on best available, then do it. Um, to me, though, Sorber has some of the highest upside in this class. I actually think he may have slightly more upside than Derek Queen. So to me, if he's available there in the early 20s, take him. It's blasphemy not to. It's not like we have had centers who are dominant, who are consistent, who are full-time starters that can affect the game in any sort of way. If Claxton's not blocking a shot, he's borderline useless. If Dayron's in foul trouble, he's borderline useless. So to me, you still need that potential full-time starting center because at this point, I think it's a competition between Sharp, Claxton, and whoever they may draft. But to me, I think the easiest way to kind of subtract yourself from having that issue at the big man spot is to trade Claxton. I agree.
Exactly.
I think one first-round pick and an expiring contract. Just get it off the books. It's sometimes you have to do deals where you may not be receiving an incredible young talent back or a ton of picks. Sometimes it's the move that you get 3 years of a contract off your books for the price of an expiring contract plus a future first, and that's the best deal you can get. And I have no problem with that deal whatsoever because, like I said, you're freeing up that 70 plus million that he's owed for over the next 3 years, and you're in a better position over the next 2 free agencies.
I want to let's talk about the Claxton trade, right? Because it's just I don't even care what you can get from anymore. It's just he just looks clueless offensively, right? Like you give him the ball and then like dribbles into the help. It's like he's just useless offensively. Like it's just so bad. I mean, he can lob a little bit with Cam, like and that Cam Thomas that worked a little bit, but like he just looks like this is his first day of playing basketball on offense every single game. He's just clueless out there. It's year 5 for him?
I think it's
year 6.
Year 6, yeah.
Guys, I mean, 6 years, he can't. He still looks clueless. It's not going to get better. Just
no. After a 4th season, usually you have the player that you have 9 times out of 10, unless if you're Norman Powell, then Godspeed to him.
Get rid of him. Like, I don't even care what we can get. We can trade him to the Lakers. I'll take Rui and a 2. I don't care anymore. Just get the contract off the books. It's a horrible contract. You can't rebuild with this. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's going to get in the way. He's going to have a good game. He's going to have a game where he gets 4 blocks and 12 rebounds, and Marcus is going to say, this is my center of the future. If he's not here, he can't be that problem. He can't be that distraction. Just get him out of here. He's not good.
And you know what's horrible is inconsistent too much. How many mid-range shots he made this year? Maybe 4 or 5. Like
every time he does, the apologies come out. He has a midi. It's like he's hit 4 mid-range jumpers all season. Stop.
And he made 1 3. And the crazy thing is, Dayron I think has made 5 or 6 or 7 threes, and he's making way less than Claxton is. So
double digits in threes.
Yeah. So there's no choice but to get rid of Claxton. So much is the way it's looking. The guy's unhappy, clearly. He's going to be a father soon. He has his eyes on many different things than being on this team right now. And the only way Claxton will get better is if you have 2 stars with him. But we're not in the situation right now. A team like the Lakers are. So get the deal done. Move off Claxton. Re-sign Dayron on the cheap. Draft him a center. Then you start fresh. It's not that hard, but Marks makes it sound like pulling teeth because you don't want to hurt players' feelings. You gave him the money, Sean. Now go send him off somewhere where his offense could be better used. Or his defense, but it's not good being utilized here.
He can't guard 5s. I gave this analogy to LBL, who was kind of trying to defend him a little bit. I said, if Ben Wallace wasn't strong, wasn't good at rebounding, and wasn't a good passer out of the post, would that be a good player? And he's like, no. I'm like, that's Nick Claxton.
Yeah.
I mean, he's not a good player. We all like Claxton. We all wanted him here. It hasn't worked out. I think you can trade him to the Lakers. You're going to have to take on Rui's contract, and I don't know if you're getting any draft capital out of it. But to me, I don't care.
Yeah.
You can't have him here anymore. The contract is that bad, and his performance gets worse. He was a much better player 2 years ago. And I understand that's got a lot to do with the offense, right, Dylan? But, it's really bad with him at this point, offensively and defensively.
It is. It's like playing with a Ben Simmons that can't play make. There's really just... And I hate to say that because I was so high on Claxton. I was happy to have him back, but there's nothing that he does that's great. I'm not really looking to wait any longer with him, and especially with the contract that he has. Just get what you can get. Hopefully it's a 1st round pick. If you have to move 2 2nd round picks plus Claxton to get the Lakers first, do it. Because there's nothing that is going to help you in this current situation with Claxton. You can't build around him. You can't expect him to be a third or second option. There's nothing more for him. It just send him to a better situation where his game can develop maybe a little bit better because it's not happening here.
Yep, and you already paid him. Like, time to move on. If he can't cut the mustard.
If he was making $10 million a year, you'd say, all right, backup center money, backup center. Okay. He's making 25. He's the highest paid player on the team. He's going to make more than Cam Thomas is going to get. It's like, guys, this contract, Sean Marks does it again.
Yep.
Like, we all looked at that contract and were like, wow, that's top dollar for him. You know, and like now it's like I think it's still movable to one team, the Lakers, right? I think if he's playing in that offense next year, and he's not even going to think about touching the ball. So
I still think Golden State's another team that potentially has some potential with him because they're trying to build something around Butler and Curry right now. Realistically, if they can't afford to bring Kuminga back, a sign and trade for Kuminga and Claxton, that I don't mind.
We addressed that the last show.
I wouldn't go out of my way to straight up offer him a contract that's so excessive that Golden State can't match it. I'd simply just do a sign and trade for him and Claxton because at least he still has upside. At least him is a position of need at the wing spot, right? He can play the 3, Clowney could play the 4, Sharp at the 5, Thomas at the 2. You know, like that's something that you could get behind. But I don't know. There's a very select few amount of teams that I can see showing any form of interest in Claxton, and it's probably just the Lakers, Warriors, Pelicans, Raptors, and Hawks. I think those are the only 5 teams that I can really see showing any form of interest in him. Maybe Charlotte, if they do a 3-team deal and they can move off of Mark Williams, I could see Claxton being a really good fit there.
I just heard
they want to. Yeah, they're still going to want to. But at the end of the day, he failed a physical. They're not going to get nearly the price range that they got for him originally, which is why I'm saying if there's a world that you can do a sign and trade where, you know, Mark Williams is going one place, Claxton's going to Charlotte, and we're getting, you know, a pick and some fillers in between there. Like, I'm cool with that.
That works.
As long as you can get him off the books and free up the cap space over the next 2 off seasons, I think that's more valuable than waiting for him to develop offensively in year 7. It's just not going to happen.
I wanted to address this comment because BC is a big Lakers fan, and he said early in the season when we first talked about moving Claxton, he was open to the idea of trading for Claxton. The Hachimura trade, and at first he was like, yeah, I could do that. Now he said, I hope the Lakers find a better center than Claxton. Has Claxton diminished his value? Like, you go back to the offseason, Claxton was on the list, top 50 players in the league, top 100 players in the league. He was the one net on the list. Has Claxton's play really deteriorated any trade value he may have this offseason? Has he been that bad where it looks like, yeah, I don't even want to trade for him? John, you want to go first on this?
From the outside looking in, yeah, probably. I mean, the guy got cooked by Bismack Biyombo. He got out-rebounded by Moose Diabate on the Hornets, who wasn't even on a team. You got crushed by Jalen Duran. And Al Horford had a bad performance in him last night. Aging Al Horford plays better than Claxton. So, yeah, outside looking in, you could say, yeah, Claxton, he's diminished. He give you some defense here or there, but what does he give you as a complete player? Not as much. But look at the Lakers situation. You have Jackson Hayes, and listen, he's on an expiring contract. He's not a starter. He's a backup. You want to bring him back as a backup? Okay, but you still need that starter. And looking at the free agent market, BC, this summer for centers, it's not that huge. I mean, Miles Turner sign and trade, maybe, but does Turner fit with what the Lakers want to do? And does DeAndre Ayton fit what the Lakers want to do? Probably not. Do they want to take a risk on Robert Williams, who has bad knees? Probably not. At least with Claxton, mostly he's got a clean bill of health. Defensively, he's shown you if there are 2 stars on a team with him, he gives you effort on the defensive side, and offensively, he gets carried. So I would say if you're looking at what he's did with the superstars, his game is much better than it is without superstars. So, yeah, his value got diminished, but the Lakers have 2 really top scorers on that team that are superstars who just need a big right now to help them lob some dunks and defend a little bit. Claxton should be able to do that much still. He's not 30 years old yet.
All right. Yeah, Dylan, has he deteriorated his trade value that much where it's like it's just a salary dump? I mean, like anything has he deteriorated?
I think it's a slightly lesser offer than what they got for Mark Williams, right? Williams got 2 first-round picks and Dalton Knecht. I think it's an expiring contract and a first-round pick. I think it's a very simplistic offer, nothing too crazy. You know, it's probably not the value that a lot of Nets fans would want or were hoping that you could get for a guy like him. but at the end of the day, just take it. Expiring contract, first round pick. Move on. If you have to attach a second or two, feel free.
Okay, yeah. We got a full panel now. We got two of my favorites. We got Pete from Nets Fans and my boy Breezy. What's up, fellas?
Hey guys.
What's going on?
Happy to be here. What up, guys?
What up? What up?
You guys want to weigh in on this? We're for bringing Sharp back, and Pete. Last year, this past offseason, Claxton seemed to have some value. There were other teams interested in him. We had to give him a lot of money to keep him. Detroit offered him a big contract. Has he played himself out of all of that value, or do you think he's still a tradable piece in the offseason? Or do you think it's just like a salary dump, anything to get him off the roster?
No, I think he's played well of like the last. If you look at the last like 15 games or something, I think his value has gone up a little bit. I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm not watching every single game, looking at every single box score, but I think we could say that he's played at least a little bit better. I don't think there's ever been no value for him because he is young, and there's always going to be a team that could be like, man, this guy could defend on the inside, on the outside, and he played with KD a couple years ago, and he played really well. Maybe we get someone that could be like help him on defense, and we can get that extract that little talent out of him. I don't know. I think when teams see some talent in a player, there's always a voice in the back of the head. You know what? I can get him back to that defensive player of the year type of energy. And I don't know what his value is right now, but I wouldn't say that it's a pure giveaway. It wouldn't be a salary dump. I think there'd be something, but I'm not sure exactly how much.
I'll take Rui Hachimura's contract, which is a little bit less, about $5-6 million less, and we'll call it a day.
Hell, I'd do Jalen Wilson and Claxton for Knet and Rui Hachimura plus a first.
That's interesting.
I need a first. I think I need a first back.
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. I would need one first.
Contract. If they're telling me I'm going to take his contract, that's addition by subtraction. Just get him off my roster. Just get him out of here. I don't want to pay him anymore. He's not like that contract's egregious. If someone else wants to touch it, I will take on a 1-year expiring deal no matter how bad it is. I feel like it's almost like it's not Ben Simmons to me, but honestly to me, he's so bad, it's approaching that. It's like I don't care what you give me. You want to take his contract, he's yours.
You got to keep in mind the salary cap is going up every year. So the percentage of what his contract makes of the cap is going down, making that contract look a little better and better each year. And I think it is still descending.
right. That's a good thing Pete just said. So his money does go down this summer a bit. So it actually makes him more tradable this summer. Good point, Pete.
Then trade him then. Then you guys also have to remember his production and play gets worse every single year too. So factor that in. He was a much better player 2 years ago. Breezy, I want to get you in on this Nick Claxton. What value does he have, and do you think he's tradable? And would you trade him in the offseason if you could?
I think he got tremendous value, dependent contention on your negotiating skills. You could easily sell somebody like Clax at the trade. You know what I'm saying? If you trade him, you could say, "Yo, I got somebody that could play 1 through 5. He could guard the perimeter. They could pull up highlights of him guarding perimeter players where instead of taking a shot, they passed it off because they didn't want to take the last shot on Claxton. You know what I'm saying? You could pull up different scenarios. Like I say, he's been a player that could fit in with any teammate. He had 4 teammates switch. You can really sell Claxton, quote unquote, as far as a player and say he could fit in your rotation, fit in your lineup with any lineup that you got. If Sean Marks knows how to negotiate, really knows how to talking rice and beans, listen, I'm talking rice and beans and gravy. If he really talking that talk, he can definitely sell Claxton. We could definitely get back a first-round pick. I'm not saying it got to be a lottery pick, but we definitely could get 1 first-round pick. We definitely could put him in a trade situation. Am I saying that I would trade Claxton? I mean, it is what it is. You know what I'm saying? It depends. And I don't think it's going to be a 1-for-1 player. I just don't see it that way. I think it'd probably be a package deal. Maybe him and another player. I think we got a lot of that. Maybe him and Tyrese Martin, or maybe him or you know what I'm saying? Somebody on a bitch that's, you know what I mean, looking to get more time. You got players like for what it's worth, Quentin Grimes making that case. Quentin Grimes was drafted that same year, where it's not a lot to expect from them, but there's a lot of upside.
Let me stop you there, because I want to respond.
Yeah.
Quentin Grimes is a good NBA player. He's a good player.
Right.
How good is he? That's debatable, but he's good. Because the salary cap space that we do have next year is kind of a mirage. Like, it's going to disappear quicker than you can shake a stick at it, right? Like, it's going to disappear. Is having Nick Claxton on the books going to prevent us from getting guys like Quentin Grimes who can help us?
Look, Gary, I'm gonna say it like this: it's too much competition for us to just be set in stone with Claxton right now. He got Sorba, he got a bunch of other centers that the Brooklyn Nets could draft. Right. I don't think he got that spot. It's his spot. It's his spot for him to protect, but not for his. Like, it can happen. He could be in a trade package contingent on what happens. So yeah, it could happen. I agree with you. The trade is more likely than not because of Clowney. If we didn't have Clowney, I would say no. But if we got Clowney, changes Claxton's value to this team, because we can make Clowney a stretch 4, and we can't make Claxton a stretch 4.
Right. Good point.
All right, John, I want to move on. I got the 2 videos. I got the Nets Kingdom video and the which one do you want me to play first? Which one do you want to get
let's play the Windhorse one first, and then we'll go into this Kingdom one, because we're going to show Sean Marks' list. Yeah, you guys are going to enjoy it. It's going to be fun.
Both of them cook Sean Marks, basically.
Yeah.
Good.
Hang on.
Deserving.
It's going to be fun.
Hang on. Let me start over again. There you go.
There we go.
Seems that way, I mean, I tell you, and blame Brooklyn for that. The trade the Rockets made with Brooklyn last summer has not aged well for the Nets.
Well, that's way too strong to say,
brother. It's way too strong. Are you serious?
They
have 3 of the Suns. This year's a swap. Oh, I see why you say it, because you got a Nets executive looking over your shoulder. Hey, we're talking about how bad that trade was last year.
That is not that is not correct on any level. I'd have Aaron come over here and say something if he wanted to.
But no, dude, they got back 25 and 26 control, and they gave them this 25, 27, 29. The Mavs 29, which the value of that has gone up massively for obvious reasons.
Sure.
And the Rockets held on to the Nets 27 swap.
And if the Nets win the lottery and get Cooper Flag, it's worth all those picks and then some.
All right. I think both guys make a good point. I would say if you get 1 or 2, if you get Cooper or Dillon, he's got a point. The trade's worth it. But the other guy makes a point too. It's like, look at what you've given up. Like, the Mavericks pick is going to be a lottery pick. It might be the number 1 pick in the draft in 2029, right?
See, Gary, I disagree, though.
Bro, Gary, he couldn't have seen that. Come on, man.
Hold on. I disagree with one portion of what you said, Gary, and that's if you land Flag or Harper, it's a win. I don't think so. I think the entire point of the reason you got your 2 picks back is because you were trying to do what Boston did with our picks previously. You need to draft 2 picks within the top 5 to potentially have 2 superstar players to build around at an affordable cost for the next 7 years. That's got to be the long-term picture. And the fact that they hadn't taken it seriously the first year shows me that this organization is poorly run, which I've been saying for the last 6 years. But it's never going to change.
I gotta disagree, man. I don't want to, but I got to, man. I won't defend.
Let Dylan land the plan, and then I'll let you rebuttal him.
No, I'm just saying, a 2-year rebuild makes the most sense. It doesn't matter who you add to this roster. You could add Giannis this offseason and draft in the top 5 this year, and you are still going to never make it past Boston or Cleveland. There's no point of wasting all of your assets, exerting all of your potential opportunities to rush a process that you're not going to succeed at. There's no point. Build youth, land 2 top 5 picks. If you land 2 top 5 picks that hit, you are now in a position to where you could be running the Eastern Conference once Boston dies out. You'll be in control of these guys' contracts for 6 to 8 years because of the protections that teams now have under the new CBA with players that they draft. There is no reason to rush a single thing, which is why no matter what anybody rebuttals with, there is no actual evidence or fact that states doing this for 1 year, not getting the pick you want, and rushing the process will work is absolute stupidity. There's nothing that works with that.
But that's what
Let me get Breezy. Yeah, Breezy.
I'm not rebuttaling it. I'm saying the same thing. I'm saying that the difference between what me and you are saying is that I'm saying we are in position to do that. I don't think we're that far off. And I broke this down last night on the stream. If you heard it, it was basically saying that we still in position for it to happen. And again, I'm not trying to be funny. Y'all know I'm just being this is what I heard. So now they want somebody like Cooper Flag to come to this market. You know what I'm saying? It's success in having successful NBA teams in one place. You see that with you feel me, Gary live. You see that where I live in New York, Brooklyn. You see that in California. You feel what I'm saying? It makes sense for it to and again, what they were saying was send Cooper Flag here because the best talent in the NBA is European. Whether it be Jokic, whether it be Giannis, whether it be Wemby, all of this stuff is making it the international players are better than the players on this soil. With a player like Cooper Flag coming to Brooklyn, that changes things. The NBA could build their brand around that. And I'm saying that to say they want Cooper in Brooklyn. I think they want Cooper in Brooklyn. So what I
heard the same thing with John Wall in New Jersey, and I'm done fucking around with the lottery system when we own our own pick, because the problem is when we own our own pick, we get fucked. When we don't, it's top 3. So to me, there's no reason.
But then it's Keith Van Horn.
What do you mean
right?
when? Boston got 2 top 3 picks because of our picks. Portland got a top 5 pick and drafted Dame because of our pick. When we had the opportunity to draft John Wall, we got the 3rd pick and landed Derek fucking Favors. The year that we were in the top 6, we got Brook Lopez at 7. Great player, but we still didn't land top 3. We have not seen a top 3 pick in Nets history since Kenyon fucking Martin. It was the year before I was born. It's pathetic. Yeah. It's a joke. The fact that you're not putting yourself in the position to get it is a joke. It's poor organizational management. It's malpractice. There's no other wording for it other than mismanagement.
Let me bring Pete in real quick. I want to get Pete's take.
Can I just finish one thing?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
I saw a comment before that said if Cooper Flag was drafted, you think that this team's in a position to get number 1 next year? Yes, because the younger you get, the worse you perform in terms of win-loss ratio. It is a simplistic fact. If you are drafting 4 players next year, D'Lo's not back, Claxton's not back, Johnson's not back, you are going to lose more games this year than you did, or next year than you did this year. Because the younger you get, the less you win, because they are developing. They don't know how to win games late down the stretch. They don't know how to take advantage of teams who are not maybe playing them as hard. They're young. They're still learning. It's their first year in the league. You lose more games. It is a very simplistic equation that works for most teams. And for somebody who says drafting picks with other teams' picks like Boston did with ours, that's not an excuse. Houston's done it. OKC's done it without their own picks. Boston did it without their own picks. Houston did it with most of their picks, right? Whether it's your pick or not, the whole point is if you land in the top 5 back-to-back years, you have put yourself in a position to where you can build long, sustainable winning culture.
But how you say we out of position?
It's possible, dude, but like the odds don't favor what you're saying. Like the Lakers picked 2-3 years in a row. They got Lonzo Ball, D'Angelo Russell, and
they were able to move it all. They were able to sign LeBron and move it all for Anthony Davis. Like, I understand that. It happens, but it's also the Lakers. We're comparing ourselves to one of the most prestigious organizations in basketball. I'm sorry. We're the Brooklyn Nets.
I'm saying, no, the amount of wins we got, we're not out of position. We're not out of position with the amount of wins we got.
Listen, again, until they are
regardless
number 1,
of what the records say of us being the bottom
until we land top 3, I'm not listening to a single word anybody says, because this whole positivity bullshit that's never worked out in favor for the Nets as a fan base in the lottery, I'm sick of it. It's pathetic. We haven't drafted our own picks in 10 years that have even had a chance at a lottery pick. The numbers are we have not drafted the top 3 picks since the year before I was born. I'm 23. That's pathetic.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is you're not hearing the other numbers. The other numbers are
what are the other numbers?
Overlooking. The other numbers is when you look at the actual standings and the actual who got what pick because of the standings. We, the Brooklyn Nets, going into next draft are not out of position.
Do you want the numbers?
No.
You keep number 5. You keep saying that. You have a 10.5 chance to land picks 1 through 4. At pick 5, you have the 2.2% chance of staying at pick 5. At pick 6 and 7, you have a combined 49% plus chance of dropping below 5. I'm sorry, but stats don't lie. Men lie,
Whenever I see
women
this,
lie,
it
but
just-
stats don't. And until it's
I'm
proven
whenever I
otherwise,
see this-
I'm standing on
I
this.
just think
really
how rigged the NBA
I really
lottery is.
don't.
Who would concoct a system like this to play it on the up and up? Like, it's just insane to me. Like, whenever I see like how the NBA lottery works, it's like this is the most rigged thing in the world. Who
Jay's
has a
funny.
lottery like this? Like, have you ever
Like
seen
I said,
another
like I said on the
lottery
last
like
stream,
this?
like I said on the last stream, if we land a top 3 pick, guess what? I'm as happy as can be. You can't say, "Oh, I was right." Why? Because I get what I want still. All right, but if we don't, I at least can say I told you so. That's the difference. I don't give a fuck what happens. We either land top 3 and I'm happy, or we land outside of the top 3 and I can scream "fuck Sean Marks, fire him," and all of you were wrong. There's no in between for me. I'm right regardless, and I'm fine with that.
I see. If we don't get top 3, which I disagree, I do think we do get top 3 because of the things I said. I think we might get 1 because of what I said about Cooper Flag. And the truth is, when you think about the NBA, it's true. There's no Larry Bird, somebody that's from here, from this soil.
There is
that's
no white
holding it
American.
down.
Yes.
So
Yeah,
I'm
there's no
saying
white
that the international players getting more clout.
And what makes you think that they're not going to want to put that guy in San
more
Antonio?
love.
What makes you think they're not going to want to put that guy in Philly?
Same.
What makes you think they're not going to want to put that guy in
Let
Houston?
me respond to that. They might. They do.
That-
I think they
I
do.
wouldn't disagree with that. They
Because-
wouldn't.
Because in terms of teams that can contend right now and are
San Antonio's
much better
number
than
one,
us,
by
San
far,
Antonio,
yeah.
Philly, and Houston all have better markets than us. Same
Nah,
with
don't
Miami.
Philly.
Nah,
Philly's
but how
better
much
than
you going to
Philly
get?
has a better
Hold
market
on,
than
but
us.
that's not.
Philly
they,
is a
they
more
be
desirable
under
market than
investigation. They be under
Philly
investigation to go to Spurs again. They just got they got the Castle at 4. They got Wemby at 1, and then they gonna get a 1. That's too much. That's too much.
Dallas got
I mean, that's
investigated
too
when they were.
obvious.
Dallas
They
got
can't just
investigated
keep
when they were
going
a
to the-
5 or 6 spot, and
They
they
gotta
dropped
show
to
the
7.
Brooklyn Nets some love, man.
Hang on, guys.
There's no
Let
love
me
to
agree
give.
with-
We've done nothing.
Let me agree with Breezy on that. Like, yes, could I see it happening? Yeah, I could. I could see him going to San Antonio. San Antonio getting the number 1 pick. If that happens again, the second time in 3 years, the only year you don't get it is the research year when nobody wanted it really. The other 2 years when there's the big prize, you get both of them when you're not really in position to draft there. They're going to start throwing tomatoes at you. And like, if and I'm not saying it's not going to happen. It could. The Spurs, I promise you, are going to draft a lot higher than they're seated at right now. Like, they're
100%.
gonna pick, okay.
To me,
You are
the
gonna
only
start throwing
stat.
tomatoes at the screen if that happens. You know it, Dylan. Like, that stinks, and everyone knows it's rigged. And
Yeah, it
I
sucks,
want
but
to
at the
get
end of the
Pete
day, if
where I
that's
want to
it,
see.
at the end of the day, if that puts us
Wanna
one
get to
step
me,
closer to
Gary?
firing Sean Marks, I'm fine with it. Let me say one thing. The only stat that I am even banking on plays through is the simple fact that we are the only team in the NBA. We're the team that hasn't drafted the number 1 overall pick the longest. We have the longest drought for not being able to obtain the first overall pick. That's the only hope I'm being given. And the only problem with that stat too, is considerably we did draft the number 1 overall pick. It went to Boston and they traded back to 3 and drafted Jason Tatum. So to me, that stat still has some false hope to it. But at the end of the day, the Nets as a whole, as an organization from Jersey to Brooklyn, have not drafted the number 1 overall pick the longest than any other team in NBA. That's the only little bit of hope I'm trying to hold on to. But at the end of the day, if it doesn't work out, guess what I get to say?
Listen.
You were wrong, and the front office is fucking
Listen,
stupid because
Dylan.
they didn't put themselves in the position to get that pick.
Listen, the teams that got a worse record than us, that's in quote unquote better position than the Brooklyn Nets.
Utah has a better roster than us.
Hold on, they didn't.
Charlotte has a
Guys,
better roster.
guys.
Let me finish.
John,
Let me just say this
John
one
has-
thing.
Yeah, and then I need to hear from John on this.
They didn't. The teams that got worse records than the Brooklyn Nets didn't do anything with their high lottery pick. Utah had Donovan Mitchell. They ain't go to the finals and win the championship. Why the NBA gonna keep going to teams with high lottery
Utah
picks
never-
and
Utah
not winning
never
no
missed the playoffs.
championship? You gotta cut us.
Utah never. Why are we acting like the Nets are fucking God's gift sent from heaven? We're not even a top 10
No,
organization.
I'm
all time.
debating
This
your point.
organization
You're saying
is a
Utah.
joke.
I'm saying Utah had Donovan Mitchell, Rudy Gobert, etc.
Yes,
and
they had.
didn't win the
Yeah, they had
championship.
Donovan Mitchell, who never missed
They
the
got
playoffs.
the NBA can't
They
keep
never missed
going
the
to
playoffs
the
with them.
same team when they
They
didn't
never
win the
missed the playoffs with
championship
them.
when they had high
Charlotte,
pick.
Charlotte drafted LaMelo Ball. He was an all-star or borderline all-star this year. He should have been. Brandon Miller's on the rise. What's wrong with them and what they've done draft-wise? Nothing.
Oh, he's done a great job. John, let me get to you. John, I gotta get to John. John, I haven't heard from you yet. Your thoughts on what Windhurst said? I think both guys make a fair argument. What are your thoughts?
Man, I picked some interesting videos, so this is where the conversation's going to go, man. I can't wait till we get to the second video. But listen, what I got from the video is this. This is probably one of the biggest gambles Sean Marks has taken with our future. You essentially gave the Rockets free diamond mine assets with the Suns picks and that Mavs pick. Listen, the Mavs pick was the only valuable thing we got from trading away Kyrie Irving, and we lost that. So essentially, we had Kyrie for nothing. We gave him away for nothing. So you gave away all that for your own 2 picks back. For me, getting 1 top 3 pick would be really good. Getting 2 back-to-back top picks would be great. That would be the greatest outcome you could hope for. But if you don't get any top 3 picks in these next 2 drafts, this is one of the biggest failures in NBA history. We are essentially the Brooklyn Nets auto shop. You want free draft picks? We got you. You need superstar players? We got you. Like that's what this organization has kind of been the last 8 years. We start projects, never finish them. We always seem to give the players away and the assets away for nothing. So with these 2 drafts, that has to change. You have to actually bank. And for me, this draft is way more important. This is our first ever lottery pick in Brooklyn Nets history. This is our first real impression. And you want it to be a great damn impression. Because the way we went about this season, man, the AJ DeBosa, Darren Pearson's like a mirage right now if we're going to carry the same strategy next year. But for right now, rather playing, we have 5th, 6th odds right now to get a top pick. If we get a top 3 pick this year, it's your first ever lottery pick, and I think that's making a great statement. But if you don't get a top pick, this is one of the worst trades you can make in NBA history. But I'll agree with Breeze here a little bit. We have kind of positioned ourselves a little better. We have a coach who gives a damn. I guess to Jay's point last night, we might be one of the most respectable taking teams. We haven't gotten obliterated more than once against the Clippers. But other than that, though, the leadership this season has been questionable at best. And we have to get a top pick to justify giving the Rockets free assets for free. So I hope it works out. But if it doesn't, like me, Gary, and Dylan always do, we just bring you guys the facts. But we are hoping that this first ever lottery pick truly is somebody that could be a foundational piece for years to come. And that's what we're going to find out on May 12th, whether Marks made one of the worst gambles in NBA history or he might have made the biggest gamble that could save his career as a GM. We'll find out.
Let me just jump in for 1 second too. I'm not gonna debate it, argue it, rebuttal it, nothing. Look at every sport in America right now. Baseball, for example, the Nationals, the A's, all of these teams grab great young prospects, develop them, and what happens every single time? The big brothers always get those players, whether it's trade or through free agency. It's the same thing with the Nets. The Nets are not a top-tier organization. They have accomplished nothing in the NBA. That's just the fact. I am a diehard fan, and I can openly admit that. The Nets have not accomplished a single thing in their entire tenure over the past 20 years. Outside of the 2 finals they made, they have accomplished nothing. Specifically, they've accomplished nothing in Brooklyn. So keep that in mind. This whole hierarchy that we're trying to put the Nets on, what? Because they're the 4th highest valued franchise in basketball? Whoop-de-doo. Guess what? We've done nothing. That means nothing. Just because we're on a Forbes list doesn't mean that this organization is God's gift from the heavens. It's not. So until they prove otherwise, these are the facts. It's unfortunate to hear. Do you think I want the comparison on the screen right there? I don't want to be compared to the fucking Jets. I hate the Jets. The Jets suck. But unfortunately, that is the comparison for the Nets. The Nets have done nothing. So until they do, I'm going to keep saying what I'm saying.
All right, guys, I want to get to the next video. We spent a lot of time on this. We're going to spend a lot of time on this, and I guess I got to wrap. We'll pick up Cam Thomas next time, but this is going to go for a while. Sean Marks mistakes. All right, guys, ready?
Let's do it. I cannot wait.
Zoom in, Gary. Zoom in.
All right. Firing Kenny Atkinson at the request of Kyrie. Hiring Steve Nash. Not trading Dinwiddie at the 2021 deadline. Not giving Jeff Green an offer in the 2021 season. Banning Kyrie from road games during COVID. Trading Harden for Simmons. Not getting back Maxey and waiving the Simmons physical. Extended Patty Mills. He gave Patty Mills Bruce Brown's money. Didn't fire Nash, only to fire him 10 games into the season. Traded Kyrie to Dallas instead of LA and taking a lesser offer. Not trading DFS for 2 firsts, extending Vaughn for a second term for no reason, only to fire him 1 year into his 4-year extension. Not making sure Cam Thomas was a key part of the rotation after the stars were gone. Salary dumping Joe Harris when he had negative value. Salary dumping Patty Mills after giving him an extension. Not trading Royce O'Neal in the 2023 offseason and instead trading him for a second at the deadline when you could have gotten a first for him, not trading DFS at the 2023
moved
deadline,
up
not
in the draft.
tanking after you traded the 25, 27, 29, and the Dallas pick to get your 25 and 26 first back. I mean, we can go. There's more to it than this, but I think he does. God, is Mark in the chat? Mark, are you in the chat, bro? If you are, don't even try.
He was here for a little bit. He's been quiet since. I'm not sure.
Oh.
We have the ultimate list now. This is go from Mark, Bob from Nets Daily, Dave. Some people I've been talking to that are Mark's apologists. I'm not going to use stands. I'm going to use apologists. Listen, you can't justify all this. And we'll add Claxton's contract to that list right now because he's made a lot of bad decisions. He's giving away bad money. He's traded away the stars where they want to go. Instead of showing a backbone, you should just hold hard and listen. James, nobody's buying the injury shtick. You're staying here. Katie and Kyrie coming back. We're going to win a title. But no, he sends the stars wherever they want to go and taking on Ben Simmons' contract, horrible contract. The Bernie Madoff of basketball nearly destroyed our future. There's no way any of you guys can justify what Marks did as saying he should still be the GM because he got our picks back. What has he done? Where's the progression? Where's the actual building of something? It hasn't happened in 8 years. Anything that I said this to Gary and Dylan before the show started. Anything Marks has tried to build in Brooklyn, he self-destroyed it. You can't say that makes him a good GM, and I'm gonna leave it at that right now. I go into a lot more, but that is the summary of this. He has not been able to start anything, build anything, or retain anything in Brooklyn the last 8 years, and that doesn't make a good GM in my book.
All right, let me play the video.
A lot of Sean Marks stands that plague this
Let me
fan
play
base
the video
always
real quick.
Sorry, and before you start that too, this is one of the most idiotic comments I've seen. Saying that getting worked up over so-called first rounders, how do you build an organization in any format of sports? You draft.
I don't
It's that simple.
necessarily agree with it. We disagree on that. Like,
think about every sport. Every team's best player has probably been drafted.
One, never had a winning season. Traded for Tom Brady and won the Super Bowl immediately. I don't necessarily agree with you. Like, the draft is a way to do it, and it's probably the best way for small market budget organizations. I don't know.
Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, top 3 picks.
They were
Alperen Sengun, Jalen Green, top 7 picks.
Okay,
but I could go on. LeBron, number 1,
Jaylen
KD,
a
2.
free agent. Joker, a second round pick.
But we're talking about the 3 percenters. We're talking about the 3 percenters, though. 9 times out of 10, a player who is drafted within the top 5, one of those 5 players is going to win a championship, is going to lead their team for 10 plus years, is going to be a multi-time All-Star, is going to be All NBA. That's a fact. We haven't seen it as a Nets fan in my entire existence, because Derek Favors was traded right away. Like, I have not seen a top 5 pick as a Nets fan. I don't give a shit if I'm 23 or 63. There's no difference.
Yeah,
but that's my point. There's no difference. Do it the right way for 1 to 2 years. It is not hard. Nets fans are acting like we have some fucking hierarchy that we've been winning forever, and that taking a year or 2 to rebuild is some devil worshipping shit.
You're right about that.
There is nothing for Nets fans to complain about when you have no championship hardware in your trophy case. There's nothing.
I agree. I've been a Net fan since 1990. Right, and the only sustained winning we had was during the Jason Kidd era, so about 5-6 years there. That's it. That's all of our sustained winning. Other than that, it was maybe a good year here and a good year there. And by good year,
you'd probably really say it's more so 4 years. Yeah, you would probably say it's more so 4 years, because when they got Vince, they went to shit.
Yeah, but they were still in the second round of the playoffs every year. Like, I count that as winning. I mean, they weren't going to win a title.
Yeah, you can in a sense, but when you got Vince, the whole reason you got Vince was because you had made the finals and you felt like you were a missing piece away. And the fact that you never got back to that point is really not that good of a sign. Like, I love Vince. He's one of my favorite players of all time. But there's just there was nothing successful about it. That to me is more so a failure than it is a positive. Because if it was a positive, you would have gotten back to the stage that you were at before.
I agree, but here's my point. Right, you're right. No, it didn't work out in the same way that KD and Kyrie didn't work out. You didn't get past second round, right? But it made for entertaining basketball. It gave you valuable games. It was a fun time. Yes, it didn't ultimately work out. You didn't get to even the conference finals. But
see, and that may be my problem as like a Steelers and Yankees fan. I'm used to winning. I am used to being the top of my sport, and I think that's the difference. If you want to be a fan that is cool with first and second round losses and looks at it as victories, by all means, that's great. But the fact that we have not been to a finals in 20 years and we haven't even come close to it,
Hey,
If that
Claude.
doesn't worry you and that doesn't make you want to get there more, that's a problem to me. If we're just cheering for first and second round losses, hey, that's a weird way of being a
We're
fan in
not
my eyes.
cheering
But
for that. But all things considered, when you think there's 30 teams in the league, only 4 of them make it to the conference finals. Only 8 of them make it to the second round. It's not a bad season. I'm not saying it's a banner season and we should celebrate it, but it's a good season in the sense that as a fan, it gave you valuable games. It gave you a team to root for. Like this, I'm the biggest Nets fan in the world. This crap is unwatchable. Like I gotta like make myself watch these games. Yeah.
I agree. I'm the same way. Do you know how hard it is to root against your own team? It fucking blows. Like, I genuinely hope we land in the top 3 simply so I can say, holy fuck, thank God I don't have to do that again. Like, people don't understand. There's nothing enjoyable about hating my own team. There's nothing beneficial for me whatsoever. But at the end of the day, it's all factual. Everything that I am saying in terms of how we're not positioning ourselves properly to land a top 3 pick, how we're not doing anything correctly by not moving off of veterans, all of these things are true. How we have a piss poor GM, all of these things are true. This is not negativity. This isn't false. This isn't me giving you guys like false information. These are all facts. So until it's proven otherwise, I have to stay this way. I've stayed this way long enough. I'm not going to switch up now and be like, oh my God, we have 23 wins. Let me stroke Sean Marks for it. No, this is a piss poor product and a piss poor front office that is doing piss poor things. And until they get rewarded for it, there's nothing for me to say. It's dog shit.
Let me get to the video. Let me get to the video. I want to listen to the video. The video is good. Shout out to Cypher over at Kingdom. Yeah.
Shout out to you, buddy.
How are we judging Sean Marks? A lot of Sean Marks fans that plague this fan base always defend him by saying process over results. You can't criticize him for the big 3 failing because individually he didn't make any major bad decisions. Which, by the way, tangent, that isn't true because he made plenty of bad choices with all the coaching hirings, waiving Simmons' physical. But, I'm not going to go there because here I'm asking the Sean Marks stance. How are we judging him? Is it process over results? Because if that's the case, if the Nets get lucky and they get Cooper Flag, why would we give him credit for that? He didn't optimize the lottery odds by tanking, resting players like the Jazz do, or trading all these vets before the season even started. Oh, but now the results matter if we get Cooper Flag? Oh, who cares about process? And if we're being results-oriented, he's one of the worst GMs in the NBA. One playoff series win in 9 years. KD, Kyrie, and Harden all asked out in a span of 12 months. 3 top 15 players asked out of your team in 12 months. Oh, but no, it wasn't his fault. He made the good decision. In that situation, process matters, not the results? Here's the truth, and this is the Sean Marks stance, and I hate them so much for it. They always move the goalpost to never criticize him. They'll always spin it to make him look good. Why trade the Suns picks if you weren't going to tank? That isn't a hindsight. Oh, hindsight is 2020. No, he knew whether or not he had the balls to tank, and he didn't. Sean Marks is a joke, and his stands are a fucking joke.
All right. First, I want to address the haters in the chat. Okay. I live in Dallas. I flew halfway across the country, spent my own money to go watch the Net games this year and stay in New York for a week to go to Net games. There's no bigger Nets fan. Dylan, they may be as big a Nets fan as me. There's no bigger Nets fan than me. All right. So let's check that. Okay. But I'm not going to sit here and sit for Sean Marks and sit for guys who suck. Nick Claxton sucks. Okay. And as a Net fan, I don't want him here anymore because he sucks. If I was a Nets hater, I'd say keep him. Sean Marks is the worst GM in all of professional sports I've ever seen in my whole life. So I don't want him here because I want to win. I want to be good. Like, it's because I'm a Nets fan that I'm going to say Claxton has to go. I don't even hate Claxton. I like him. Like, he's a good dude. He's just not.
Yeah, I have nothing against Claxton as a person. He's cool as hell. Great dude. But again, it's just when you don't see the development that you were hoping for in year 6 now while getting this contract, yeah, it's not going to be in our favor as fans to maybe root for him to be on the team next year. Again, there's a huge difference between hating and being real. This is like a misconception between people. I hear it all the time. This isn't negativity. This is factual. The team's poorly run. The team's not in the best position to land the number 1 pick. The team didn't move off of Cam Johnson for his value, which they should have. These are all things that are factual. If you can't agree with that, either A, you're delusional, or B, You love a team so much that you can never say that they're wrong. It's like being in a relationship. I'm going to go with Gary's women analogy here and relationship
Everything's
analogies.
about broads.
If you're in a relationship with somebody that cannot actually say that they're wrong about something, even though they're wrong about it, that's like the Nets. That's how Nets fans, some of these Nets fans are. They are flat out saying that they are that the Nets do no wrong, and that you have to cheer for it and act like everything's happy-go-lucky. It's not. It sucks.
You know what the big
After
problem
some
is?
time, you're going to want to see success, and we haven't seen that.
You know what the big problem for me? It's the communication style of the last, 4 or 5 years. It's been all over the damn place. Like Joe and Marks, you couldn't keep three superstars who offensively were doing great when they were together happy. You couldn't meet their little demands. And listen, let's be honest, some of them have maybe diva personalities. Okay. But when they were together on the court, they were offensively crushing it like nobody's business. And all three of them didn't want to be around you. And one of them requested for you to get fired. And that was Kevin Durant. And Dylan, I think you and me, if we were the owners, we have choose between Sean Marks and Kevin Durant. I think it's quite easy where we would go.
It was a no-brainer. I would have driven to his house, packed his bags, drove into the airport. Shit, I would have even gotten on the flight with him, grabbed all his stuff, and packed his entire new home for him. He is not worth more than a Kevin Durant. He's not worth more than a Cam Johnson, and I hate Cam Johnson.
Seriously, and what happened? They sent them where they wanted to go. And then he made the Bridges deal, and this is a weird communication style. These two couldn't find out that this guy was way happier being with his Knicks Villanova buddies, and his non-biological twin, Scam Johnson. He got gifted $90 million because the front office thought Bridges wanted to be here, and Johnson, guilt by association, got gifted the money because they thought they were going to sign Bridges. Like, that's a huge problem. You can't give a guy $90 million if the guy that you wanted in the Kevin Durant deal doesn't even want to be with you. Like, this front office doesn't understand their own players. Like these are simple things that me, Dylan, Gary talk about, guys. Like, you want a structure, you want a system, you want guys that are fighting for the same goals. This year, you got vets telling people like me, Gary and Dylan, to go to hell because we actually want this team to be better. We don't want 30-year-olds making $20 million going on podcasts talking bull crap about how the All-Star game should be. No, we want younger talent on this team that actually wants to be here, develop, and Jordy's actual system. Let Jordy actually develop actual talent to be part of. That's why you got to hit on both these drafts. Because if we don't hit on both these drafts, we're going to be back in the old Brooklyn Nets playbook, star hunting. And you guys have seen how that's gone the last two times we've gone star hunting. The Stars have been together for less than 2 years on this team. That's why drafting high, like Dylan says, is so important.
Yeah, let me jump in here for a second because I saw a comment from Mark. Herb Jones, one of the top 3-and-D players and one of the highest caliber of role players, he has a $12 to $14 million deal over the next 3 years. Trey Murphy, $25 to $27 million. Trey Murphy is a 10 times better player than Cam Johnson has or ever will be, and he is still young. So let's not say a $20 million, $23 million contract is a good thing for Cam Johnson. It was an overprice. It was an overpriced contract because he liked the person. Once again, Sean Marks is a person lover. He is not a successful GM. There is no difference whatsoever in saying that he is either good or bad. He is just flat out ass. There has been nothing that he has done that has helped this organization do anything successful in the last 5 years. Did he get us out of a situation with no picks? Yes. Completely give him credit for it. We all loved him for it. We all thought he was going to do great things. Fucked up the 7-11 era and has fucked up this era since. Just a fact.
Yeah, this isn't a treehouse, guys. It's not a clubhouse. It's not bring in your buddies and win 20 games and pay them a bunch of money. Like, Cam Johnson was signed to keep Bridges happy, who immediately acts out and to be traded to your crosstown rivals. Like, everything he does is horrible. Like, he gave Cam Johnson a bad contract to keep Bridges happy. Bridges was immediately unhappy and asked to be traded to the Knicks.
Horrible.
This is like a bad joke with this guy, and I don't understand. Here we go.
And Mark, you say Johnson's contract is valuable. He has incentives on his deal that teams that were near the second apron didn't want to meet. So when Mark's demands 2 first-round picks for a guy who has incentives on his contract, they're not going to give into that unless they know they can win a title. So, Mark, you were wrong. Johnson's contract is not valuable like you say it is. That's why you should have traded when he had the chance.
If it was so valuable, a team would have traded for him.
Yeah.
Or Mark would have traded him.
And they'd offer you value. They would offer you value. They wouldn't say, here, take an expiring deal.
The problem is that Marks has a value on what Cam Johnson is because of the contract that he gave him that no other NBA team agrees with, simply because the contract is not as valuable as Marks makes it out to be. That is a simple fact. He is not worth 2 first-round picks. whether he was playing at the peak of his career earlier in the season or right now. He's not worth
All right,
2
look,
first-round picks.
real quick. This is an easy thing to end the debate, right? Herb Jones, right? That's your example, right?
Got his extension 2 years
When-
ago. Yep.
When 2 years ago, right? Okay, so what is he? He's a wing, right?
6'8",
He's
small
playing-
forward, power forward, one of the
Play
best
small
defenders
forward,
in
power forward,
basketball,
right? All right.
shoots over 37%
Pelicans back in
from three.
2023. What's their depth chart looking like? Power forward,
You tell
small
me.
forward. Zion
me.
Williamson, star. Brandon Ingram, all-star. So where's the starting
All-star.
market in Herb Jones' example? He's a
the
starter
starting market in
now
Cam
after
Johnson?
having moved
Where's the
Brandon
starting?
Ingram, and
All
the
the teams
value
that we're
now
looking at
looks
Cam
great
Johnson,
because
where
no.
does he start? Where does he start?
Market is determined by at the time when you put the ink on the paper.
And
He
that's
was
an
not
overprice.
the starter
A shitty
when he
team is
put the
always going
ink
to
on the
overpay
paper.
for a player. That's a fact.
Dylan, was
A
he the
shitty
starter?
team- a shitty team is always going to overpay for a player.
He's the
Is that not
starter
true, yes
now.
or no?
He's the starter now.
Is that not
Was
true, yes or
he
no?
the starter when he put the ink
Answer the
on the
question.
paper?
Answer the question.
No, I'm asking.
Are
I
shittier
answered
teams
you the
always going to
question.
overpay for a player?
What?
Yes or no? Or is a shittier team always going to overpay for a player? Yes or no? The Nets offered Alan Crabb over $18 million.
Yeah,
Alan
but
Crabb.
that's going way
They-
back
they-
when
they
we
offered
were in the
Tyler Johnson
shit
60
era where we
It's
had
the same-
nothing.
Mark,
We
stop.
were in
No,
quicksand.
No
no.
difference.
It's the same guy. You can't justify
And he offered it. He offered it, and it was matched. And then when he did take the deal, he got 12
And Alan Crabb
points
is
per
known to
game
be one of
for
the
2
worst
seasons and flipped
contracts
it
in
and turned it
basketball.
into Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving with the
And
cap
he is
space.
known for, and Alan Crabb is
How did
known to
that
be
go,
the worst
Mark?
NBA
What?
contract in NBA history.
No. So now let me ask you a question, Dylan, and please provide an answer and don't segue, don't
Get to
go
your question.
silent. When
Get to your
Herb
question.
Jones put the ink on the paper,
He was a
was
6'7"
he?
man.
No.
He was a
Let me finish the
6'7"
question.
man.
Was
You asked
he
if he
the
was a rotational
starter?
piece or a
Was he
starter.
the
I said he
starter
was a
when he put
6'7"
ink on
man.
paper?
I
Yes
said he
or
was a
no?
6'7"
Simple
man.
yes or no. Was
I
he
said he was a
starter?
6'7"
Ink
man.
on paper? Yes
He
or
was
no?
a 6'7" man, one of the highest caliber role players.
Oh,
in
so he
basketball.
wasn't a starter.
Okay, and is
Okay,
Cam
so now the
Johnson a starter
market
on 9 out
is
of the 10
that's
teams?
for a
And is Cam
rotation
Johnson
guy.
a
Same
starter on
kind
9
of
out of the 10
contract that
teams that we're
Obi just
assuming him?
signed. Come on,
No.
guys.
Let me ask you a question.
Be real about it. Be real about it.
Yeah,
And
be real
Why are
about
you
it. If
wearing
your team's always
shades
gonna
in the
overpay.
daytime,
Let me ask you
dude?
a question.
well, it's sunny out and I'm outside, John.
Mark,
See?
it's a yes or no question. Okay.
Talk to me.
When Orlando signed Tracy McGrady, who is the runner-up in six-man voting, 6 man of the year voting that year, when they signed into that contract, which was the richest contract in basketball, was he a starter?
Akeem, that's also false. We were an 8 seed. We had to play Philly in round 1.
Wait. Say the question again, Gary.
When Orlando, I will ask the question. When Orlando signed Tracy McGrady, when Tracy McGrady was the runner-up in 6
when was that? Like
year voting,
2001 or something like that, right?
Yeah.
Back in the day.
was he the starter? Was he the starter?
Was he the starter on Toronto? No.
Yeah. Okay. No, he
Was he
wasn't.
brought in to be the starter on Orlando
We would have brought Herb Jones. We would have signed Herb Jones.
No, but listen to what I'm saying. Listen, you're shifting the argument, the conversation to make it seem like it's right. Herb Jones put ink on paper when he was not the starter. So don't say the market for starting wings is Herb Jones. No, because Herb Jones was not the starter. That's all I'm saying. Clear it up. Put all the facts. Because Casey now I provided examples
Herb
of.
Jones was the starter. To be
Provided
factually
one
correct,
example.
Herb Jones.
No. Okay, so
absolutely
now
the starter.
let me provide more examples. I'll rattle them off for you really quick.
Why?
KCP.
You were already proven wrong on the example that you walked in here.
What?
with.
How was I wrong? Herb
There's
Jones wasn't the starter. How was I
Gary just
wrong?
said-
Tell me where I was
Gary
wrong.
just said he was the starter.
He
How
started
was-
every single game that year. Well, how was he the starter? He played 6
Because
games.
Zion was on the bench. It wasn't. Oh, we got the Herb Jones
now
era.
there's the
Forget
excuse.
about Zion. It was
Oh,
Zion
He
was
started
out.
70
Come
He
on.
started
Context
more games.
that
He
shit.
started,
Context
he
that
started
shit.
more games. He
Don't
started
just
more games.
Put fake facts.
started-
And
He
There was
started the
never
game.
a point
He was still a
outside of
starter.
his first month.
okay.
He wasn't the starter.
If Zion is healthy, Ingram is healthy,
Ingram's not there. Ingram's not there.
now
there.
he's not there. When he
Ingram's
signed the
not there. Who
contract,
cares?
Ingram
Doesn't matter.
was. So
If
okay,
your
so now
value
give
is
me
of a
your other
potential
example
starter, you're
of
gonna get paid.
who is
He's
this
the
starting
starter.
wing
He
that
played
just got
2
There's no
re-signed.
other examples that need to be
bro,
given.
you
This
guys
isn't a
sound
debate. You're
crazy.
walking on here.
Clearly, he's a
You
starter.
guys sound
He started-
crazy. I'm giving you examples. Miles Bridges, 3 years, 75.
You say Johnson's
KCP,
Horrible
3
contract
contract.
years,
was good
66.
was not
DeAndre
a
Exactly.
fact.
Hunter,
Horrible
4 years,
contract on a
90.
bad team.
The starting market
Exactly. Atlanta Hawks,
wings.
horrible contract on a bad
Do you
team.
know that
keep
Johnson was
proving
actually
my point.
13
Hold on.
points as a former lottery pick, Mark?
Forget
Hold on.
about
You keep-
points.
hold
I'm
on.
talking
You keep
market.
proving my
Market.
point.
Forget about
How
points.
does that equate 90
Market.
million? Come on.
It's the
Nobody else would give him 90
market.
mil.
Dylan
He
Brooks,
wouldn't have
4
got
years,
90 mil from
82.
anybody
Proving my
else,
point.
Mark. Come
Horrible
on.
teams with cap
Hey,
space.
Gary,
let's
you
do
would
it
have
half
got
and forth
90
because this
million
is a lot of
anywhere
back and
else.
forth,
Come
guys.
on.
Keep,
All right, guys,
You wouldn't
guys,
have.
guys,
proving
come on,
my
one
point.
mic, one mic, one mic. I
You
wanna mute
keep
everybody,
proving my
guys.
point. You keep proving my point.
What
DeAndre
point?
Hunter got his contract on the Hawks, dog shit team.
Okay.
Who was your other one? Miles Bridges on the Hornets, dog shit team.
Okay.
Every
Okay.
team that every
Dylan
player
Brooks,
that gets
who
a
you're
higher
Dylan Brooks.
Mark,
on the
let
Rockets the
Mark,
first
let him
year.
go.
Dylan Brooks the first year on the Rockets were a lottery team.
But
Dylan
where
Brooks
were
the
we?
first year in
Where were
Houston was a
we?
lottery
We
team.
were trash. We were
Dylan
dog
Brooks
shit
the
too.
first
And what
year
was the alternative?
Okay, and that doesn't mean it's a good contract. Simple as that. It's as simple as that. That does not mean that it is a good contract. Mark, you got muted because you won't shut up. We're trying to get to the points here. He's still going. He can't even hear. Look at him. This is ridiculous. Dude, put it on the car speaker so you can hear better. Nobody can hear you.
Gary,
Nobody can hear
would
you. We had to mute you because we're
Mark.
trying to get moving.
I'd like you to respond to what I want to have like a decent conversation here.
This shit is crazy.
Please respond to what Dylan says.
Go ahead, Dylan.
3 piss poor teams that you just named gave bad contracts to players who are starting on bad teams. That does not mean the contract is good. It is as simple as that.
Okay. Can I jump back in?
Yeah, please.
When the Nets signed them, what were we? Were
Dog
we
shit.
this?
Dog
Okay,
shit.
so and did we have our draft picks?
No.
At the time, no.
No. Okay, so were we forced to have to try to compete?
No, we were not. You could have signed and
No.
traded him. We weren't competing. What were the moves that
No,
indicated that we were
what?
competing?
No. Don't
What
say that
moves
only
indicated
after
we
the
were-
fact, knowing how the season played out.
That doesn't matter. What
No.
moves prior
See
to
what I'm
Cam
saying?
Johnson and
When he
Claxton
put the
coming back
listen,
indicated that we were
Dylan,
competing.
be quiet and let me just say what I'm saying.
Yeah, but you're on here right now. You joined us. I'm telling you, what moves prior to Claxton and Cam Johnson indicated that we were trying to win now? Nothing. So again,
It wasn't win now. We had no choice but to try to compete. We had no control of our draft picks. There was no incentive to take.
And he cut out again. Okay, point being,
But I don't understand his argument. So since
there's
we
no
don't
point of the argument.
in bad position, now we have to give bad contracts because
Yeah,
we're
that's
in bad
pure
position.
stupidity.
It makes no sense what you're saying, Mark.
It's pure
Like, if
stupidity.
we were one piece away and we thought he was like, okay, the Knicks. OG's overpaid. He is.
Yep.
He's a good player. If you think OG puts you over the top, then I overpay him. I don't overpay people when I'm horrible. Like, that doesn't make any sense. Why am I doing that? I'm just screwing my team moving forward. I don't understand that argument at all.
Gary, would Johnson have gotten 90 mil from any other team but Sean Marks? Gary, it's quite honest answer.
All of these contracts are like that.
Come on.
He's not here. I don't know. Mark, can you hear us? Breezy, you want to weigh in on this? Breezy, we haven't heard from you in a minute. Are you there? You want to weigh in on this?
Breezy may be working
Breezy, you're
again.
muted. Breezy, okay, Breezy, peace out for a minute. All right, that's cool.
Yeah, my
All
whole
right.
point to the argument he's trying to make here is there was no moves to show that they were competing. They brought back the same fucking roster. That team had 30 wins. That's not competing. So the excuse of they were trying to make moves to compete is blasphemy. If you were making moves to compete, you would have traded for DeJounte Murray last year at the deadline. Simple as that. He was worth a singular first-round pick. They had a first-round pick to move, and they didn't. So let's not talk about win now.
Herb Jones
when
is a
they
good
weren't doing
contract question.
Herb Jones is one of the best contracts in basketball. Trey Murphy, at the level that he's playing currently, only making $25 million a year, is huge. He is a solidified second, third option. Cam Johnson is nothing more than a fourth option on a contender. That is a fact. It is an overvalued price. 16 to 18 million makes sense, not 23.
What is Off the Porch talking about? Johnson lived to his contract. Last year, he was missing so many three-point shots, and now he's stat padding on a bad team. If that's a little up to your contract, okay, but would he be doing this on a better team? He'd be averaging less on a better team.
My point was this, in regards to when Johnson signed the contract. There was no incentive for us to take a step back. We had no control of our picks. We were forced to try to compete at the time. The contract that he signed is well within the starting wing market at the time of when you're signing your contract. Okay? Herb Jones, if he's a free agent today, gets the same deal. Period. Like, stop trying to, pretend as though that, oh my God, this is a crazy overpay. No, at the time it made sense. Letting him walk for nothing made no sense. And he's still a piece that we can move. Like,
All right, I'm gonna
He's
respond to
averaging
that. I'm gonna
13
respond
I'm
to
points
that.
a
bugging
lot.
out. Like, am I
It's
not?
not
Am
a
I?
game changer.
Like, come on.
I'm gonna respond.
It's not a
right?
game
Okay.
changer, though, Mark.
I know. I don't say he's a game changer, and he's not being paid as a game changer. Game changers are are impact high top tier players
Well,
making
you
40
said something.
mil.
I'm gonna respond. I'm gonna respond. All right. Okay. The trade was awful at the time. You don't trade one of the greatest players who's ever lived for two role players. It was a horrible trade. What made the trade even worse was then overpaying Cam Johnson and compounding the situation. We all knew, what the hell are you doing, Sean Marks? No one said that was a good contract at the time. Nobody. No one. Oh, that's good value for Cam Johnson, who, by the way, Jamison Crowder quit the Suns because he was starting. That's what his teammates thought of him. Okay, like, it was never good. The trade was bad. The signing was worse. Not trading him is unspeakably bad. Cam Johnson has been mishandled every single step of the way.
But listen, I'm not disputing that he shouldn't be on the roster. He shouldn't be playing for the Nets at this point. I'm not disputing that. No, you can't say that, Gary. You can't say that, Gary. You can't say that. You can't say that. And by trying to say, like, he got overpaid, what is the market for wings? That's what I'm saying. Like, show me where.
20 million.
Show me where there's not
Starting caliber fourth option player, 16 to 20 million.
Show me where a starting wing in free agency. I just told you, Dylan Brooks, Miles Bridges, DeAndre Hunter,
and again, we already came to the
KCP.
conclusion that those were four bad teams that paid four mediocre players for bad contracts. And notice how none of those teams have done dick sense and why half of them have been traded. This is not difficult.
Okay, so let me ask you a question. You're saying fourth option, right? What about Derek White?
What's Derek White on a different team?
Stop.
What's
No. So if Cam Johnson got paid 90 over 4,
you're
120 over 4, what is that?
Team that's won a championship and that continuously is contending over the last 6 years. You're
Pick
talking
a team,
about a team that's
pick a team, and let's go over a contract.
I can keep rebuttaling all day long. Pick another team. Go ahead.
Chicago, Patrick Williams. Talk about it.
Can I jump in real quick? Just to put some
Bulls and
context.
Patrick Williams, it's a dog shit contract at the time that he signed it. Now that we're 4 years into 2 or 3 years into the deal, he's making $18 million. He's not a fourth or fifth option player, and that's why they're looking to trade and move off of his contract. He was rumored to be trying to get traded this NBA trade deadline.
But that's what the market entailed. You're saying you're
using a market as an excuse to make a bad offer. When you
no. The market is what the market is. That's all I'm saying. Don't bash it like Cam Johnson's the only one outlier of wings getting paid.
Why did Jalen Brunson take a pay cut?
Here's my point, Mark.
If a market's a market, why did Jalen Brunson take a pay cut?
He did it so that he could build a team around him because he's the franchise player, though, Dylan.
So
that's like when Tim Duncan used to take pay cuts, and Dirk Nowitzki used to take pay cuts.
What?
Can I jump in real quick?
Wait.
All right, look, to y'all point, right? To Mark's point, I remember now because I was thinking it was three wings that was left. It was Cam Johnson on the market, Jeremy Grant, and I think Kyle Kuzma. And all of them got big contract. I think Jeremy Grant got the biggest contract from Portland at the time. So what Mark is saying is, at that time, what Cam Johnson got was what the market was giving, because I think Kuzma got a little bit less than Cam, and then Cam got a little bit more, and then Jeremy Grant got the biggest contract at the time.
DeAndre Hunter.
Let me respond. Jeremy Grant is 100 times better than Cam Johnson, and so is Kuzma. So to pay him more,
he is much more.
He's also 100 times paid more. He's paid nearly double his salary, though.
No, he's
you think he's double the impactful player as Cam Johnson? You're crazy if you think that.
$27 million a year. That's $5 million more than Cam
Johnson. Pull up his contract. Pull up his contract.
I have it right in front of me.
What was it? What did he sign at the time?
Right in front of me. I don't have the exact what he signed. I have exactly what he makes right now.
No, don't forget what he makes at the time of the contract. What was it? How many years?
that?
How many
How are we
million?
forgetting that? It's the same level of
How
contract
many
that
years?
Cam
How many
Johnson got,
million?
just
I'll pull
different
it up
money.
if you don't want to.
He's making 29.4 million over the next 4 years.
It's considerably
let's see.
more. It was
Considerably
5 years,
more.
139. Considerably more. And he's a
Can I just
considerably
say
better
this
player.
one
So
point?
it's
5 years,
not a-
160 mil.
Currently,
Yeah.
what they are at right now,
One-
they are making
5
$5 million
million,
difference.
39.
Currently, what they are making right now, it's a $5 million difference.
Let's have a simple conversation here. Mark, what is your point about Jeremy Grant?
No, what I'm
There's
saying
no
is the
point.
market. He got overpaid. Do you think Jeremy Grant is worth an extra year and another 70 million more than Cam Johnson?
Mark, do you invest?
Hells no.
Mark,
I'm
do you
going to mute
invest?
you again unless you answer my question. What is your point about Jeremy Grant? That he's better than Cam Johnson and got paid more than Cam Johnson? That's your point?
Do you? No.
No,
The
don't
market.
ask me
We were
questions.
talking.
It's that a market causes for bad
What
contracts.
is your point about Jeremy Grant?
My point is the market, and then I'm bringing up Jeremy Grant, given the contract that he got around the same time.
That's
Way
like
more than
that's like fighting fire with shit. What are you getting at? You're giving
it's
bad
the
contracts
market.
because
It's the market. It's the
Okay,
market.
so when the stock market sucks, are you investing
The
fully
market,
into
brother.
it?
It's the market.
No.
It's the market.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I know.
yes,
I know.
it is the market.
Yeah, I
What
guess.
does
I guess.
that
Yeah.
mean,
When a
Mark?
market sucks, then you're gonna just overpay.
It's the market.
That
It's the
makes
market.
sense.
Don't blame the GM because you know what?
That's
Portland
exactly
did it.
He's the one that signed the
Chicago did
contract.
it.
He's the one that
Charlotte
offers
did
the
it.
contract.
Houston did it. Atlanta did it. Come on.
Notice how none of those teams outside one of them are actually relevant, and that player isn't even a top 4 player on the team that he's on with that contract. Thank you for proving our point.
Okay. So
That's it. That's
because
it.
we can really just keep going with it. We can really keep going with it.
You can.
Can I
There's
just say this
nothing
one
to go
point
on.
real quick, Gary?
Talk
Can I just
on
say
it,
this one
John.
point real quick? The reason the contract was made for Johnson is because Sean Marks foolishly believed he could quickly retool his team around Johnson Bridges, be his bootleg version of a Tatum Brown, which was idiotic because you need a star to come to that team. When the stars didn't want to come, you had to overpay for Johnson. Then Bridges didn't want to be here, which is the whole reason that Marks had this crazy idea in his plan. The guy never wanted to be there. So the money shouldn't even come to Johnson's hands. You can't even read the room and realize that the guy you wanted in the KDL didn't even want to freaking be there. So why are we paying Johnson this money when he should have been traded at the very least if we were going to keep Bridges at the whole time? Like it should have been null and voided at that point. We should not
ask Marcus question.
went
First,
past
Mark,
that.
I appreciate you walking towards the fire. I appreciate you willing to walk into the lion's den and fight the lion. I do. I appreciate you doing that. All right. But let me ask you that question. If they didn't have Bridges, would they have given Cam Johnson that contract? Be honest.
If they didn't have Bridges, were they still giving Cam Johnson that deal? Yeah, because at the time they still didn't even have their picks. So it made no sense. You don't let talent walk out the door when you have no.
What kind of talent is he, Mark? You act like he's top tier. Come
He's the
on.
type of no. He's the type of talent that you guys are saying. Well, he's worth at least a first round pick, so he has some value. He was in the 3-point shootout. He's not a bad player. Is he a top level? Guys, I'll table the whole question. Do you guys think that Cam Johnson is a top level shooter in the NBA today? No.
No.
Okay.
He's had one good
All
season.
right. Gary, do you think he's a top level shooter?
No.
You don't think
he's
so?
had one good season in the past 3 years.
Okay. What was that?
He's had one good season in the past 3 years.
I'm not saying he's fucking Steph Curry, but I'm also not saying that he's dog shit.
He's mediocre. He's a 4th, 5th option.
He's not mediocre in terms of shooting.
He's a good
4th or 5th option.
He's a good shooter. That's what I'm saying. He's a good shooter, which holds value in today's NBA floor spacing. No, am I crazy?
I'm not saying he has no value. What we're saying is he's overpaid. That's the argument. It's a bad contract for minimal value. Yes, he has value. Yes,
Gary,
he can help a good
the
team.
market dictates the contract.
And the market doesn't dictate the guy who fucking offers the contract. It's truly that simple. Sean Marks is awful. Can we move on? There's nothing more to this.
He's not a good
There is
defender.
nothing more to this.
I'm not even arguing Sean Marks good, bad. I'm just simply saying market. Was that in line with the market? Yes. To answer that question, it's yes. And if you're saying no, you're out of your mind.
Sure, an inflated market with poor wing options. Sure. Yeah, if your best 3 players were Kuzma, Hunter, and Johnson as your wings, hey, by all means, if you think that's a good market, feel free.
They all signed the same type deal for the same type.
And they all are meaningless.
OG got 40 million and OG got 40 million. Would you then give Kuminga 40 million? RJ Barrett got 35 million. Would you then give Kuminga 40 million because those other guys got those other couple players?
You're just not putting no
Before team,
context
though.
on.
No, I
Before
hear
team,
you. I
though.
got you. Would you give Kuminga 40 million because OG got 40 million?
No,
But that's
Point
the
being.
market. But that's the market, Mark.
that's not the market.
That
The
is the
market.
market.
No.
I just told you
He's demanded 30 to
That's
35
last.
million.
No, that was OG's market last year, and he used leverage because the Knicks. What are you gonna do? You're gonna let him walk out the door for nothing after you just gave up RJ Barrett, Manuel quickly, and a first-round pick for
Right,
him?
so different teams are in different situations. So
You
And
got to
at the
put
end
it
of the
all
day,
in
they're still
context.
overpaying. And at the end of the day, they're still overpaying.
Yeah.
OG's market wasn't 40 million.
It's
His market
overpaid.
was
It's
around
overpaid.
30. The difference is he had an offer for a little bit more, so the Knicks overpaid for him. Hence why we're saying that this guy's overpaid. Every player,
And
9
I'm
times out of
not
10,
saying
who hits the open market
saying
is
that
going to
he's
be overpaid.
overpaid or underpaid. I'm saying
You just said he's not overpaid. That it's
I'm
market
saying
value.
the market dictates the contract.
And you said
Am
that wasn't
I
an overpay
wrong
because
in
of the
saying
market.
that?
You said that wasn't an overpay because of the market. Those are your
Exactly.
exact words.
Exactly.
Okay, but you just said that.
Dylan,
it
you're
was an overpay
on
now.
record of saying the contract decreases
contract sucks.
from year 1, year 2, and it looks more favorable on the back end.
That's
Don't
Yeah, on the
backtrack
back
that
end,
shit.
but that doesn't.
Contract.
When did I backtrack
Yeah,
it? I never
come on.
said that. It's still a poor contract for a team that doesn't need him.
The last
Simple.
2 years remaining. Okay. So but you got to specify that. Don't just simply bash the contract. Oh, that was
You
an
already knew
overpay.
my take. You already knew
Come
my take. So
on,
why do I have
bro.
to reiterate it? You
Come
just
on,
said that I
come
was
on,
going to
come
change
on.
up when I didn't change up. So
What?
I said you just said that I was going to change up on the way that I felt about the contract when I said it was front loaded and that on the back end it was better. Never said that. I said that it's back that the back end of it is not horrible.
Is
Those are my exact words.
favorable.
Never switched up on that.
Okay.
What is
And
so
what I'm
your
saying
words
is the
are what you're
market
saying.
dictates it. So now, not only was it just the market at the time, but now the back 2 years are much more favorable.
You
And
keep floating around the
as
idea
Gary
of
said,
market
he is a
overpay,
good
market
shooter. I mean,
overpay,
this is a
and
shooting
we've still
league.
come to the same conclusion. We've come to the same conclusion every single time. You blame market, yet you just said it was an overpay. That's it. It's an
A
overpay.
slight overpay. But the market
overpay
is
is an
the market is.
An
The
overpay
market
is an
is
overpay.
the market is what the market is, brother.
But
That's
And it
what it
doesn't
is.
matter. It doesn't matter. He's not
And then
talented enough to get that
and then
contract.
to segue it, the trade market is what the trade market is. Look at DeAndre Hunter. I mean, you're arguing
Mark,
DeAndre Hunter is a better.
Let me step in. And he made no sense here. If you have all the pieces, if you have Giannis, Cam Johnson makes sense. If you have Zion, he makes sense. When you have no one who can create their own offense, no one who can create their own shot, and no one who can create offense for others, he makes no sense to bring him here. It doesn't fit in what we have.
Gary, does it make sense to let a valuable
Yes,
piece,
it does,
whether
because
you
then you
agree
save
with it or
$23
not,
million.
walk out the door for
Yes.
no assets in return?
Yes,
he's
because you save
replaceable.
$23
When
million
you have
earlier.
no pick?
You
Doesn't
get
matter.
the
You could
money-
have went out.
get
You could have
the
went out and
money
given that
off the
contract to
books.
DeAndre Hunter. You could have went out and given that contract to DeAndre Hunter, who's younger and better than Cam Johnson. Yes, you could have. You could have saved money, so this way you had more cap space for this season, but you didn't. Once again, a market does not
You
dictate
do have
whether
more
or not
cap
the GM
space
needs
because
to
Cam
offer the contract.
Johnson's salary the next 2
GM
years
offers the
is
contract
less
because
than
he
what
wants
DeAndre Hunter's is the next 2
Mark,
years.
we got 31 draft picks without Johnson being involved. So what are you talking about? That
That's
we couldn't let
after
him
the
walk for
fact,
nothing.
John. At the time
We
when he
still let
put
him
the
walk for
ink
nothing
on
at
the
that
paper,
point.
it wasn't the
No,
case.
Mark, you have to admit, Sean Mark screwed up Bridges and Johnson when he got here. He probably should have just traded him as soon as possible. Instead, he kept one and let the other go fast. You should have traded Johnson at the same time.
Look, what he did was he said, "Let's see how this plays out." We
Do you have
made
dinners
it
with
to
Sean Marks
horribly.
listen. We
And
made
it
it to the
played out
playoffs. The first
horribly.
listen, because
Do you have dinners with Sean Marks weekly? Does he pay for them? Because I've never
I'll
seen
be honest
somebody
with
suck
you.
off another human more in
I'll
my
be
life.
honest
It's
with you.
crazy.
I don't give a fuck if Sean Marks is the
I got
GM or
hungry
not.
with you guys
I
before.
really don't care.
So
What
then,
I'm saying is,
what's the argument? What's the debate?
what
'Cause
I'm
this is
saying is,
ridiculous.
don't bash every
Yum.
move just to bash every move.
Haven't I haven't bashed every
That's
move.
what
Haven't
seems
bashed
to
every move.
be the
I've bashed 8
common
out of every 10
theme.
of his moves. I've bashed 8 out of every 10 of his moves because 8 out of every 10 of his moves
Okay.
sucked.
Come on, bro.
Simple as that.
I'm bringing up just the market, whether it be the free agency market for a wing or the
Doesn't matter.
trade
At the end of the
market.
day, the
Mark,
contract
when
is
he
given
traded
by the
Bridges,
GM.
None of us knocked that. You know why? Because it was a good trade.
Yep.
Okay. Every
Even
other
though I
move
still
he
would have
makes,
preferred to give it to
because they
Houston.
kind of suck. Like, I'm not bashing Mark for the sake of bashing Mark. It's just that coincidentally, one guy keeps making horrible moves. Like,
He makes 2
so
good
keep
moves, takes
bashing
8 steps back every single time.
All right, if you see it that way, I mean,
Lou,
What other way is there to see it?
I want to address this, Lou. Let me address Lou real quick. This podcast is always Nets bashing. Okay. So 3 years ago, we had the most talented team in the NBA.
Yep.
This year, we have the worst, one of the 2 least talented. talented teams in the NBA. We didn't win anything in the interim. Yeah, so
Nor did we ask for it.
Right, so this has been bashing because it's based on unprecedented losing. Like, it's just losing on top of losing on top of losing.
Yep.
We lose when we're good. We don't lose enough when we're bad. Like, that's what, like, it's not bashing. It's just calling out what it is.
No, because
Right,
the
like,
problem
someone
is people
keeps
think that you're
wrecking
not a
their
real fan
car,
unless
you
if
would
you're
say, "Stop
sucking off
driving,
every
you're a
single
bad
thing that they
driver."
do.
No, fuck it. I mean, listen, I called out Mark's mistakes though. So where does this narrative go that I'm eating dinner with Sean Marks?
Gary,
Fuck it.
show him the
You
list.
come on
Show him
here
the
every
list,
single time
Gary.
defending every single move that he
I
makes.
said, yo, he should have fired Steve Nash after the Celtics swept us. Absolutely. Nash lost the locker room. He didn't then.
Okay, so
It
how many
just
times are you going to get pushed over by the same guy? Like, realistically, how many bad decisions does somebody need to make before they are fired? You just said that you think he should be fired, but then you come on here every single time.
okay, no,
defending
but
him.
listen to what I'm saying. The
Make up your
time to
mind.
have done so was last year. You let the man
time
pick
is
his
right now
coach
before he makes the
and
pick.
blow the team up and accumulate all these draft picks. Now
You
what
can
are you
pick your
doing? You're
coach.
gonna
It
fire
doesn't
him a
matter
year
until you
later?
pick the
What
pick.
sense did
Yes.
that make? Why didn't you
Yes,
fire me
because you
last
bring
year?
in a guy.
Makes no
yes,
sense.
because you bring in a guy who actually knows how to do good contracts. You bring in a guy who actually knows how to draft.
That
well.
makes no sense.
Mark,
That
you
makes no
see that
sense.
list, Mark? Look at that list right there, Mark. Tell me what Sean Marks has done that's been good and
There's
sustainable.
maybe
Tell
been
me.
3 positives
Let's
compared
run
to
through
those
the list. You want
17
to run through the
negatives.
list? We could do it check by check.
Let's run through the list real quick.
Oh
and
my
then
God,
I
we
gotta
have to
go.
hear
I
every
gotta end
excuse
this.
for these.
No, it's not. It's not an excuse. It's a reality. It's context.
Mark,
No,
let
it's
context.
gonna be an excuse.
let me run through the list with Mark. And you just tell me good
Oh,
move,
bro.
bad move. Firing Kenny Atkinson at the request of Kyrie. Good move, bad move.
Star point guard just signed a 4-year deal. Wants the head coach gone. Okay,
Good move, bad move.
who are you siding with? Who are you siding with? Because the same way you're saying
Okay, good move,
Kyrie-
bad move.
Kyrie
move,
was
bad
under
move.
contract. You don't have to fire a coach if you don't want to. He got bitched. Simple as that. Move on.
no.
Yeah.
Yeah, but Kyrie's a bitch too.
I'm gonna end this
If Mark is a bitch, I want.
Okay.
When have I ever said that Kyrie isn't a bitch?
LeBron James tried to get Spoelstra fired. Do you know what Pat Riley told him? Never come
Fuck
into
off.
my office and tell me who to fire.
Thank you.
Okay, hiring Steve Nash. Good decision, bad decision.
It was a bad decision.
Okay, so that's 2.
0 for 2. Move on.
Not trading Dinwiddie at the 2021 deadline, and instead getting
The year
a
that we
second.
could have gotten Kyle Kuzma for him, and instead we
He
waited
had
till the
a
offseason
torn
and got second.
ACL, was an expiring contract. What more were you getting?
Offer was offered.
What more
Offer
were you
was
getting?
offered. They
The
offered
offer
Kyle
was
A
made.
lot more? A
They
lot
offered
more?
Kyle
What's a
Kuzma.
lot? What's a lot?
They
Tell me
offered
what's a lot.
Kyle Kuzma.
Kyle
They offered
Kuzma.
Kyle Kuzma.
Come on. Let's not play in fucking
Okay.
pretend world. Go ahead. Next. Not giving Jeff Green.
That was
Not
already
giving-
reported. Good
not
job.
Not
giving
okay.
Jeff-
That's bullshit. But all right, whatever.
Go find
Reported.
the
Not
Don't
report.
mean
giving
shit.
Jeff
All right.
Green
Not giving
Not-
Jeff Green an offer in 21.
Offseason.
They brought in Patty Mills for the mid level, and Jeff Green got that
Was that
contract
good or
from
bad?
Denver.
Who's more valuable as a winning piece, Patty Mills or Jeff Green?
Jeff Green. Yeah.
Thank
Okay,
you.
bad
Next.
move.
0 for 4.
Bad
It's marginal, but
Bad-
okay, we're going on
It's not
margin. All right.
marginal. 6'8"
Banning Kyrie
forward
from
versus
road-
6
Go ahead.
point
Go ahead.
guard.
Banning
Banning
Kyrie.
Kyrie from road games.
Bro. If you
Yep,
wanna
next, 0 for 5.
if you wanna blame Marks took the shot, bro. All right. So fuck all
Yeah, I
that.
know,
Kyrie
he's a
broke
fucking
team.
victim.
Kyrie
I know.
broke team.
He's a victim.
Kyrie
I know.
broke team.
Keep
I don't want
moving
to
on.
hear that,
Stop,
bro.
0 for 5.
Kyrie broke
Kyrie
team.
for that. No,
Kyrie broke team. Yeah. Okay. Next, Kyrie broke team. Traded James Harden.
Okay,
Okay.
that
Yeah.
was
He
a
should.
move.
Marks is a victim. I know.
Banning Kyrie from road games was a good move. That was a good move, Mark.
Kyrie not getting the shot was the worst move. But go ahead. Go ahead. Go to the next one. Go to the next one. Let's go. All right.
Every
Traded
single
James
person has
Harden
the
for
right.
Ben
My body,
Simmons.
my choice, right?
Terrible deal. Yeah. That was a terrible deal.
Patty Mills.
All right, 0 for 6.
Well, we'll just make this 2 for 1. He gave Patty Mills Bruce Brown's money. Is that a good move or a bad move?
In hindsight, it was a bad move because
Okay.
he had just traded for Ben Simmons
That's
to play
fine,
that role.
that's
Go
fine.
ahead, keep going. Let's go.
Didn't
Didn't
fire
fire
Nash, only to fire him 10
I
games
said that
into
one
the
already.
season.
That was bad. Yes.
All right, so we're 0 for 7.
Traded Kyrie to Dallas out of spite. Good move or bad move?
You think that's what was out of spite?
Yes.
You got DFS and Spencer Dinwiddie. Yes, I think it was out of spite. Not trading DFS for 2 1s.
You really think he was worth 2 1s? Come on.
It was
Josh
already
Hart.
confirmed
No,
that Memphis
fuck all of
offered
that. No,
Yep.
Dylan, don't even chime in.
Go on Twitter.
Josh
It's not
Hart went
fucking
for
hard.
1 first round
It's not
pick.
hard. Don't
Same
come on here
trade
telling
deadline.
somebody else
Josh
who's right and
Hart
who's
went
wrong.
for 1
It
first
was
round
already
pick. Same
reported.
trade
It was already
deadline.
reported Memphis
He
offered
went
2
for
protected
1
first-round
first.
picks.
That's
Go
the
look it
trade
up.
market.
Not
If
hard.
you think Dorian
Not
Finney-Smith
hard.
is
Do research.
twice the
All right,
value
guys,
of
I
Josh
gotta-
Do a lot
Hart,
of research.
come on.
I gotta wrap this. I gotta go. I
all right.
do gotta run. I gotta wrap this.
Fuck
We'll
it. Peace
pick this
out.
up
Peace
another
out.
time.
It's all good.
Like, why the defending of him? Like, the answer to
It
these
doesn't
are
make sense.
obviously no. Yeah, I don't understand. Like, I'm a Nets basher because I'm noticing a trend here that this guy makes
In
bad
poor
moves one
decision
after
making.
another.
You know what
Yep.
I figured out, Gary? Mark has no answers, and I'm having a very good sandwich right now. That's what I figured out from that great
Hell yeah.
discussion that I was listening to. And thank you, Cypher. Let's give a shout out to Cypher. Thank you for the Sean Marks list. We'll definitely use in the
Thank you,
future.
Cypher.
Anybody who disagrees with us. And if you want us to play a video, man, we'll definitely do that. So subscribe to his page, subscribe to our page, because we are killing it on the Brooklyn content right now. Woo!
All right. Appreciate you guys. I gotta wrap this up. Dylan, any closing thoughts?
Yeah, actually, tomorrow, once the whole Texas Xavier game is finalized, I am going to go live tomorrow on my Nets Press podcast page, where I'm going to be doing a live bracket breakdown, some sports betting things, maybe some draft analysis as well. So feel free to go shoot over and subscribe to us over there. I'll be live tomorrow night, probably around 8 at night, maybe a little earlier. I'll put out an official time later. But make sure to follow me on Instagram at Nets Press. Also follow my college basketball page at CBBDraftU. And appreciate you guys for having me on as always. Until next time.
And Mark, thanks for hopping on. We do appreciate. I disagree with everything you say about Sean Marks, but I do appreciate you coming on and stepping right into the Lions' den and punching the line in the face. I do. I appreciate that. All right, y'all.
Let's learn how to have better debates, though.
Yeah, March 19th, 2025, from Texas to the world. Thank you, and God bless.
Peace.